What we're going to do here is I'm going to introduce you to the song I Fly Away that's typically played by most backwoods back porch pickers. They play just G, C, and D. They don't know why they do it, but that's just the way they play it down there. Just three chords, J, C, and D's all you know. But they don't have any idea why they just play those three chords. So let me explain to you why, the very basic essence of why those three chords are very implemented in pretty much any song. When you're playing in a key is whether it be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, or the flats, or whatever it might be you're playing in, it tells me what notes are needed to play in that key. And the key of C is nothing sharps or flats. So when you're playing on a keyboard, you're only playing the white keys. Simple enough. This is a very good summary. Now, there might be some exceptions to the rule, very few, but this is generally 95% of the time. When you're playing in G, and G is one step or one away from C, it's the fifth of C, you got one sharp, and that's the F note. So your scale in the key of G will start from G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, then go back to G again. That's where they got the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. You go from do back to do. Because you got 7, you go back to the 8. So do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That's your beginning and your end, your G to G. So in the key of G, we have an F sharp. That's what makes that say, hey, I've only got one F sharp and that's it. The rest of them is natural. So if I go from G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, I'm in the key of G. So we've got to find that scale in these three chords. So a major chord is made up of 3 notes. A G chord is made up of G, B, and D notes. It's the first, third, and fifth. So if you count G, A, B, C, D. So G, B, and D. The C chord is made of C, E, and G. Again, first, third, and fifth. The D chord is made of D, F sharp, and A. So now when you look at it, you have all the notes, including the F sharp, to show I am in the key of G. That's the reason when they play those 3 major chords, is to say, hey, this is the scale I'm playing with. So no matter what they do, they can still say I'm in the key of G because I'm playing the G, C, and D chords. So I'm going to show you how, just by simply playing the I Fly Away, just the 3 chords, how it sounds, and then I'm going to also play it the other way that I'm doing it. I'm going to change the beats per minute here. I'm going to play it just one time through, so you get to hear how it sounds, and then we can count 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. That's also important because you want to understand what the beats per minute is. How fast does that song go? So if I set it at 60 beats per minute, that's basically 1 beat per second. So time you say 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. That's going to be pretty much the beat of this song. Let's take a listen and see how it sounds.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So you really didn't hear much of a variety between that long part between G here, and you see how many measures we got in C, then G, all the way across, all the way until we get D. So it's not really a variation of tone. It's just boom, 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 the whole way through to boom, boom, boom. You can almost do a rap song on that because by the rhythm itself doesn't change. So we got the G chord all the way over here till we get to C. Then go all the way to get to G. And that makes it sound very monotonous, very dull. So, but that's the way most people down south, the back porch pickers, play a song is G, C, and D. Now what they do between the chords, and they do this because that's the way they was taught. Hey, you got to walk from one chord to the next like that there. And they don't explain why. They just say that's the way you got to do it. But what they're doing is understanding the concept of knowing if you're on one chord and I want to go to the next, how would I progress from that one chord to the next one? So if I'm going from a G to a C, It's simple enough. Just say what letters are between G and C. That's A and B. So G, A, B, C. So they walk a lot of times on the 5th string, A open, 2nd fret, B, 3rd fret, C. So that's how you walk from a G to C. And they don't really understand why they do it, but they understand it works. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you my version of I Fly Away, and you'll see here how I've got a G7 here now. And maybe I got to get it's got to get a little smaller because you can't see my chording as good. And maybe you can see it better now. I got so many chords in it. I got so many in now you can't see it. But I got a G7 here now. I also have an E minor. So I'm going to break up the monotony of going from just G to C or G to D. And let me explain to you why. If you're going to go from the major chord, the first major chord, in this particular case is the root chord or G, and you're going to go to the 4th chord, in this case C, because if I showed the number system, maybe this would be 1, 4, 5. But if I'm going to go from a G to C, I want to throw in, maybe sometimes I want to throw in a 7th to kind of give you an indication I'm going to the next chord now. Now, you're going to say, well, why is a 7th important? Well, when a G7, a G major chord, like I said, is G, B, and D. A 7th chord adds the 7th note to it. So a G7 would be a G, B, D, and F. So if we had G, A, B, C, D, E, F. So I'm adding that 7th note to that chord. So now I've got 4 notes to making up a 7th chord instead of 3 making up a major. But adding basically adding that F note to that shows me I'm going to go to a natural or a C chord, because F is the 4th chord of C. So it's kind of like, okay, what chord am I going to next, and what note would make us know that I'm going to that next chord? So when you add a G to G7, chances are great you're going to go to a C chord. Now, what if you're playing from G to D? Well, if I wanted to go G to D, G, A, B, C, D. So I go A, B, C, D. If I'm just going to go from G to D, I can walk A, B, C, D. Now, what I could also do is I may not have time to do all 3, A, B, C to D, but I might just go G, B, C, D, whatever. I just want to walk them notes till I get them. Now, what's a main difference between a G major and an E minor? When you look at the musical, the music, sheet music, and you see one sharp up on top, it's going to tell you that's in G major or E minor. This is where a lot of times people who just play it in backwoods picking, they don't know. That's just a G, that's just a key of G right there. And they'll tell you, without fail, it's always G. And that's not always the case. One sharp means G major or E minor. In fact, there's a song called Ghost Riders in the Sky that's played in the minor mode. It's played typically, it's according to who you play it, simulate it. It's either played in E minor or B flat minor or A minor, but it's a minor as much as it's a minor key. And there's some people say, I'll play it in the key of G major. They don't even say major, they just say, I play it in the key of G. No, you don't. You play it in E minor. It's the same musical annotation with one sharp, but it's a minor, not major. So with that being said, there's only one note difference between a G major and an E minor. Only one note difference. Now, if you're playing back type country, back porch picking, you may not ever put that E minor in there, but you'll play that E minor without even knowing it. Because a G chord is going to have a G, B, and a D note, an E minor has an G, B, and E note. It has an E instead of a D. So when you make an E minor chord, you're making that E note instead of a G note. So sometimes when they play that, they might hammer that E and not realizing they're making an E minor chord because of that E note. Because of the E note, they're making an E minor chord, not a G major. So we're going to throw that chord in there, right here, to show, hey, we're going to add a little bit more flavor to this song. It's not going to be just G, 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 D, 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 D. Let's throw G, let's throw G7, let's throw an E minor, and then let's listen to how it sounds this way. Now, in my particular case, I've got an intro, so I'm going to start right here at the very beginning. of the song. Let you hear it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Here's a G7, C. Here comes the E minor. Now, G. Now we see that E minor just brings out the fullness of that lengthy chord progression of G and kind of adds a little different type of flavor to it. So it's when you listen to a song. Now I've done this at 60 beats per minute for a reason. I want you to be able to clap along with it and understand the beats per minute. So when we see it light up, when one lights up, it's going 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. You see, I'll be able to count as you're watching the yellow. The faster the song goes, the more beats per minute it's going to be up here. So if I change it to 120, we'll have 2 beats per second. So we got 120 beats per minute. So this kind of gives you an idea. Now, you can see the difference between adding just G, C, and D and adding a G7 and an E minor.